One of the goals I eventually wanted to accomplish through Hip to the Games was to bring artists onto the show that were not just dope rappers, but basketball fans as well. Now, of course, I have my dream guest list full of some of the greatest artists and basketball players who I know are hip to the games, but I also knew it would be a disservice if I didn't show love to and share the stories of upcoming and or underground artists as well. I've been blessed with the vision to create this platform, so I want to and understand that it's my duty to use it to be a blessing to others. And as you know, the way I like to do it on here is by appreciating and understanding the stories behind the creative brilliance that MCs possess. And today, I'm excited to introduce you to an artist that's new to H2DG and to me is somebody who blends classic jazz and soul sounds with more of the post 2010 sounds that we've heard across modern R&B. You'll be able to hear all of that and more as he's set to drop his debut studio album, All Caps, repping Pennsylvania, but rooting for the Lakers. It is a privilege to welcome Adrian Rose to Hip to the Games. Adrian, welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to Hip to the Games, the podcast for you, the basketball junkie and the hip hop head. I'm your host, Desmond, and I too have had hoop dreams and enjoy the beautiful genre of hip hop and its history. Together, we will enjoy some of the greatest albums, songs, artists, players, moments, teams, and so much more, while even mixing the two on occasion, all in my hope that you remember why you love both or either of these to begin with. You'll soon understand that Hip to the Games is more than just a podcast. It's a lifestyle. And if you were looking for a platform that combines both basketball and hip hop, you've come to the right place. So, Adrian, man, first off, I just want to say thank you for your time and interest in joining the show. As I told you yesterday, I was really impressed with how different this album is compared to a lot of the other ones that I've been able to discuss with artists. And so I'm really excited to get into All Caps and let our listener get some insight on what to expect. But first things first, we got to know your origin story, man. So you're from Pennsylvania, born and raised?
Yeah, I was born in Reading, PA, and then we
Okay.
moved out to the Harrisburg area. And I've been musically, I've been all around Central PA. So I do a lot of stuff with like Lancaster artists and Harrisburg artists, York artists,
Okay, that's
just
dope.
all
Yeah.
around Central PA.
Okay. Okay. So what was your upbringing like growing up in Pennsylvania?
So Reading, more of like a bigger city, and then we moved kind of to the outside of Harrisburg, which was a lot quieter, kind of rural. So me being Puerto Rican, I kind of stuck out. So it was a little bumpy, kind of like the roads out here.
Word. Okay, so how did you get into hip hop then?
So my dad is a DJ. He's been DJing since forever.
Oh, that's fire.
Um, yeah, so just growing up around that, and then obviously everybody was kind of into hip hop when we were younger, like early 2000s and all that. So it's
Hmm.
always been there ever since I've been alive.
So like were you always kind of interested in making music yourself or like, was did it start as like a hobby? How did you kind of slowly get into actually making music?
So I've always been like an artist. I don't know if you can see like all these paintings and stuff around me. My nieces did these some of these actually.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah, a
But
little
yeah,
bit.
so I've always been like an art kid and always creative, and I've always had like rhythm and kind of like a thing for music. But
Hmm.
I didn't start taking it seriously till high school. That's when
Okay.
I really got into like the production and all of that. And then I think it was like 2020 is when I started kind of messing around with my voice and really taking that seriously. So I didn't become like a full-blown artist till around then, but I've always been messing around with music.
Okay. Okay. So when would you say was that moment like the light bulb went off and you were like, okay, this is what I want to take this seriously.
So I'm not sure if you're familiar with Laddie Moran. He's an artist from Lancaster, but his Crybaby Blues project, he had me sing on the outro,
Okay.
and that was like the first time I sang on a record. And like that was like that moment where I realized that I had like the powerful soul voice, and
Mm.
it's pretty much just a rap since then. Like I was just been experimenting with all different kinds of sounds. Like I like to say I have like 7 different voices. But yeah, ever since then it was just my main focus switched from just production to being an artist.
Okay. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. So, did you like know your sound like as a like vocally before that moment when you did the outro to that song, or like was it something you kind of
Nope.
played around with? Was it like spur of the moment?
It was so I kind of discovered it in the shower.
Wow.
I was just like messing around and I was like, that sounds kind of good. So I went down and recorded it and I was like, hey, how about this? And then he was like,
Wow.
yes, that's perfect.
Wow. Talk about talent, man. That's crazy to think about. That's crazy to think about. And you just hinted that, you say you got like 7 different voices, and we've kind of
Yeah.
hinted how you kind of combine vintage sounds with modern sounds. Who are some of your influences growing up? As I imagine they likely weren't just limited to hip hop artists.
So for hip hop, it was probably like DMX, uh, Busta Rhymes, uh, Nate Dogg.
Mm,
There was a lot of cast. Like the list could honestly go on and on. But yeah, otherwise it's like a lot of soul music and stuff. So like Bill Withers, even some Jimmy, James
mm,
Brown, Jackson 5, of course,
hmm.
Otis Redding, like a whole bunch of people. It's just a plethora of different vibes and styles.
Yeah, no, so and that makes sense too, considering like how you were saying your dad was a DJ. So, just by default, you were probably in the crates just as much as he was, just kind of, taken from him a little bit, and that kind of shows in your artistry. So,
I appreciate so slightly. He
uh,
was more into like freestyle music and like Soul Sonic Force type stuff, like like the dance music, I think.
right, right. Okay. Okay. Wow. Wow. Okay. So Adrian, how would you describe then your overall style as an artist?
Uh I guess soulful.
Mm.
It's just a mix of traditional and modern soul music.
So where do you think that like comes from? Because a lot of guys, I think it's becoming more popular to kind of have more of that gritty kind of you could say Griselda sound. Nowadays you see a lot
Oh
of
yeah,
people saying
yeah.
how it just seems like everybody's pulling from that tree. How is it that you kind of embody that soulful aspect? Where does that come from?
I guess just based off what I feel when I'm making music.
Mm,
So I like to listen to some of those kinds of artists. Like I'll listen to Griselda here and there. I'll listen to like Schoolboy and Reason and artists like that. But
for sure.
yeah, I don't know. I just feel something different when I listen to artists that aren't from that kind of genre. Like I don't know if you listen to bands like Bad Bad Not Good or Hiatus Coyote or
Mm-mm.
even Kali Uchis, like stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I definitely feel that music a little bit more than others, I think. And that's
Okay.
kind of just like why I gravitated towards that kind of style, I guess.
Yeah. And it's a way to stay unique too. I can imagine that
Yeah.
too. That kind of just gets you right in the door. Like, hey, like I'm bringing something fresh. I'm bringing something new. So that's dope. That's dope. Um, as we start to preview all caps though, when I looked at the credits underneath the track list, I noticed that you didn't just write and record your album, but you produced, you provided the instrumentation as well. Like I thought that was awesome. And I always compare it to being like a two-way player in basketball. It's a special talent to be able to produce and write and perform. How does that
Yeah.
impact the creative process when crafting an album? Does it offer like a greater challenge with an equally greater sense of satisfaction? Is it just more fun that way? How would you talk about that?
I would say it gives me more control. So I can actually take whatever is in my mind and put it down on the track, like as I think it or
Mm-hmm.
as I feel it, because I don't think I feel.
Yeah. No, no, that's real. That's real. I can certainly sense that when listening to the album. That's really dope. So, with that, we can preview the album, Adrian. First off, what is all caps? I'm sure many of us kind of immediately think about like MF Doom when you hear all caps. I think we can also see on the cover what essentially looks like a cookout with what I can presume is kind of features pictures of a lot of people that I imagine you're close with. Can you take us a little bit behind the curtain and describe what this project is all about?
So All Caps was kind of inspired by MF Doom in the aspect where he doesn't really have any rules to the way he makes music.
Mm.
It's not just like a set formula that he follows. And I like to think that I don't have rules either. Seeing how it's like a jazz based project. And yeah, and the other aspect of that is just wearing every hat, like when it comes to the production,
Wordplay. I see
engineering. Yeah.
you.
Sometimes I'll even do my own cover arts. Like I do graphic design and stuff like that. I do the merch, pretty much everything in one person.
That's dope. That's dope. I see. I kind of resonate with that. Like as a creator, you especially when you're up and coming, it's like you kind of just teach yourself to do everything, man. And it's like
Yeah,
when it's just you and the laptop or you and the canvas or whatever it is, it's like I got all the control. Like in some ways that can be a little like stressful, but at the same time, it's like I like being in control. I like being able to do all these things, and then it makes you more versatile. So I can really
yeah,
resonate with that. That's dope.
yeah. And it's not all the time where I feel like I have to do everything because I will collaborate with people. Like everybody on that cover are the collaborators on the project.
That's fire. That's
So
fire.
my brother, he did the artwork. He's in the background sitting on a hammock. And then yeah, everybody else had some musical collaboration. There's other producers on the project as well.
Uh-huh.
There's other musicians. I have a sax player on there, guitarist, a whole bunch of different guys, singers, rappers, you name it.
That's dope. And now, does that even kind of play into like just the general idea of like a cookout too, right? Like so many, just a blend of personalities, we
Yep.
just kicking it and everything like that. Does that kind of play into that as well?
Yeah, it definitely does. Everybody brings something different to the table and they had their own flavor. And I kind of picked the songs perfectly for them to shine on, I think.
Mm, that's dope. That's dope. Um, so I think, at least at the time of this recording, you just released the first single, Where We Came From. And I resonate with this song because to me, there's a lot of themes of like self-belief, ambition, taking pride in what you do, not in an arrogant way, but like a confident way. What does this song mean to you? And why did you feel like it was fitting to be the first single for your debut?
I feel it really sets the tone for the project sonically and kind of message wise. Like I feel like it's nice to be proud of where you're at, but to also remember where you came from.
Mhm. Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. Um, so what kind of came to mind as you were writing that song? Like, was it just kind of like a state of gratitude, or, what was that writing process like?
It's basically just gratitude towards my upbringing. So
Mm.
the cover is actually my grandma's house, and
Oh, that's
there's another
dope.
picture floating around to pair with that. I don't know if you've seen it, but but yeah, that's where I came from, and I'm proud of that. So
That's dope. That's dope.
definitely want to shine light on that.
For sure. And something else I noticed was how in the intro of the album, we hear like those voicemails and somebody's like, yo, like, man, I'm gonna have a whole nother kid before you drop this album. And even in where we came from, like you mentioned, you feel like you've been holding out a little bit. And it kind of makes sense when you say like you started around like 2020. So how long has this been in the making?
This has been 4+ years, I believe. And
Wow.
yeah, I've definitely been holding out. There's a lot of the songs are actually from 2020, and then there's like a couple newer songs on there. But yeah, the Where We Came From song was definitely from back then. That was like one of the first songs I made for the project.
Wow. Okay. So can I dive into that a little bit and ask just why you feel like you were holding out? Because I know I've kind of been like that with myself. I had dropped some tracks a couple months ago actually, and so I can kind of like feel what you're saying, but like if you don't mind me asking, like why do you feel like you were holding out?
I feel like people never really looked at me as like the artist. They kind of looked at me as the producer.
Mm,
And I've had these songs just sitting here for years, and I feel like the world needs to hear them. But at the same time, I was patient, and I was really just like perfecting the mixing aspect of it, and even tweaking some of the beats and the vocals and everything like that, just getting better over time. Like I've dropped two projects since then.
mm,
One called Disfunk, and the other one was the Lloyd EP.
okay.
But yeah, I feel like this song sonically is probably the best project that I've done personally.
That's dope. That's dope, man. And I think you hit on a lot of topics and subjects across this album. In Rat Race, for example, listeners will hear like that kind of jazz and blues heavy canvas you
Hmm.
use to touch on the chase after money, and you touch on like nepotism and essentially like the way we've been sold this American dream, right? Like why was this in particular a topic that you felt like, you had to discuss on this album?
Just looking around and seeing how people are in the rat race, and America's a capitalist country, and it just fuels everybody's day-to-day life, just getting the dollar. And then so yeah, there's two sides to it. There's people that are just about the money, chasing it, trying to get rich. And then there's the other side where there's poverty, and there's like the dark side that people don't really shed too much light on. They don't brag about it on the internet, so we don't see it as much, you know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
And then there's the other aspect, like, yeah, they want to control everything from the time where like you're in your mom's womb up until you're born, and then they're like, all right, you're on your own.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts. And that makes me think too though. So excuse me, like what is your definition of success? And I think that's something a lot of people, try to think about, especially when you think about a song like The Rat Race where, you focus on trying to like stay out the race, if you will. So,
Hmm.
so like what's your definition of success?
So musically, I just want everything that I make to live forever. Like I just kind of want to build a legacy. I don't really chase the accolades as much as the next artist, I would say. Like I'm not trying to be like the best of the best rappers or anything like that. I would love to work with some of my favorite artists. I would love to maybe get a Grammy or something someday, but I'm
Right.
not I'm not gonna make that the end all be all,
Hmm.
because I feel like that just sets you up for disappointment. And I feel like once I get it, and that's like the only thing that I ever wanted, is it gonna feel as good as I thought it was?
Right.
So I feel like success and like feeling rich, that all comes from within. And just like in my home life, like I have a family who loves me, so I'm rich. I have a roof over my head, I'm rich. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yes, sir, bro. Yes, sir. Like it's like what Bob Marley said, man. Like, possession don't make you rich, man. Like, you
Exactly.
you gotta reevaluate your riches, man. I live by the same stuff, man. Like, and it's what I tell like rappers all the time. Like, I feel like a lot of them get into that chase where it's like you want the women, you want the yacht, you want the money, but then it's like at the same time, you kind of sit back and it's like, did I even really want those things or did I want those things because that was just the thing to do? Like I
Hmm.
think most rappers just want to live comfortably and just like make the art that they want to make and live this purposeful life, you know what I'm saying? And pour everything into it. And I think that's like the same thing you just said, and to me, like you would think like more people would think that way, because it just seems more like relaxed and just at more, you're more at peace when you go about it
Hmm.
that way. So it's really refreshing to hear, somebody like yourself say that.
I appreciate.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely don't really care for the flashy stuff too much. Like
Yeah.
I got everything I need right here.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. As a fan of Hip to the Games, not only should you show your love for the podcast, but you gotta express your love for basketball and hip hop. With a wide variety of clothing and accessories, there is always a way to show how much the game of basketball and the game of rap means to you. Let everybody know what it means to be hip to the games by clicking the link in the episode's description to cop some merch and represent the H2DG lifestyle. And additionally, you have like chill songs like "Gimme That" and "LLP," and then you like gradually transition to more intimate songs like "Mamacita" and "Lay You Down," and keeping it as clean as possible. I wanted to say in particular that 4 song run of "Mamacita," "Waterfall," "Mac Wop Freestyle," and "Lay You Down." That is really smooth. Like the way they're sequenced fit really well. Even the Mac Wop freestyle is something that's like funny, yet even in that humor, he flows with that same vintage style that we've been talking about and sets up Lay You Down perfectly. Like, so I say all
Mhm.
this to say throughout the album, I believe listeners will be able to tap into their inner ambitions, find a song to chill to, find something more sensual. There's a little bit of everything here. How important was it for you to include that kind of versatility and have that universal effect on your audience as opposed to just maintaining one central theme throughout?
It was super important. I just wanted to show like kind of like an introduction of what I am as an artist and what I can do different and just like kind of showcase all my different voices, all my different sounds and my talents. And yeah, I'm not just a hip hop artist. I'm a soul artist. I'm an R&B artist. I'm a jazz artist. I'm everything.
That's fire. That's
And that
fire, man.
also goes into the all caps.
Oh, yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. And I really appreciated how you started off the album strong and then you finished strong as well. And again, like I was saying earlier, you seem to start ambitious with where we came from, and then you
Mhm.
ended with a similar theme in mind with Find Your Way. And man, that one right there, that might be my favorite on the album. One of the reasons because, at 26, like that's exactly where I feel like I'm at in life, like this very second. Like I'm just trying and believing that I'll find my way, like at some point. And that's really like all that's been on my mind. So that song is such a dope blend of talent between yourself and Naiby Perez. Honestly, like and even her, like that gave me like Flowetry vibes, bro. Like that was crazy. Like, can you just talk about this duet and how to what I presume, it serves as kind of a cliffhanger of like, hey, like this is just the beginning. There's still much more in store for Adrian Rose.
Yeah, so that song's definitely just like a reminder that it's never too late to start your journey. Like there's no age limit on this. You can be successful at any age or whatever you deem successful is. And yeah, that song, she wrote the first half of that song and the hook.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and then I kind of just took hers and kind of did my own version of the same thing. And
Mhm.
yeah, so as soon as she heard that beat though, I think I shared like a snippet on Instagram or something like that. She was like, mine.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right. Man,
So I got her in the studio and we made that happen.
yeah, like no, man, that's really dope. That was really dope because like that took me back to like the kind of you said this earlier, like the early 2000s, like man, like VH1 soul type stuff, like I see on the TV, and
Hmm.
and I think part of it might be just because I don't necessarily get in my R&B / soul bag as much as I'd like to. But at the same time, when I was listening to that, man, I was like, yo, this is different. This is really different.
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Adrian, was there anything that you learned about yourself, or maybe even something that challenged you during the process of this album? Like, just can you share anything that stood out to you while creating?
So during the process of making this album, I actually learned how to play stringed instruments, like all the bass that I played, all the guitar that I played. Um, it was definitely just like on the fly. I was kind of just learning as I was going.
Oh, wow.
So that was probably the most challenging part, as well as the mixing. I was learning that on the fly too.
Really?
Yeah,
Now,
I'm still learning. I'm never done learning, to be honest.
true, true. But were these things that you like had tried to attempt before, or like you said, like they were literally just like now's the time, like I just gotta dive in the pool, you know?
Yeah, so around the beginning of like the album process, it was like COVID,
Hmm.
and I was just stuck in the house with nothing to do. So I ordered some guitars, and I was like, let me just try this out. And then yeah, and then I was like, okay, I really love the bass. And then I figured that out a little bit. And then I was like, all right, let me try guitar now. And I was like, oh, okay. So it's basically the same thing with a couple more strings.
Man, that's dope. That's really dope. Um, what is a song on here where you're most proud of how it turned out and why?
It's probably a tie for me between Lady and Lay You Down, just because of the instrumentation
Mm,
and the progressions that I did on those songs. Like they're just so unorthodox in my opinion.
mm,
Like it's not your basic formula that you hear today, like in modern songs where it's just like intro, hook, verse. Like I think Lady doesn't even have a hook. It's just like a verse, the same verse, just altered at the end, and then another verse, and then the outro.
mm. Okay, so what it now on the flip side, now what's a song where you feel like um maybe might be underappreciated or maybe go under the radar, but it's something that like you're really excited for listeners to listen to.
Waterfall has some crazy wordplay in Raldy's verse, and I really want people to just kind of check that out. That and the intro for that was actually inspired by Outkast. Like I
Really?
don't know if you yeah, so fresh so clean.
Uh-huh.
You know how they have like the reverse drums and stuff like that on that, and what's the another one? Sorry Miss Jackson. They have
Uh-huh.
like kind of reverse sounds in that. I definitely
True.
was inspired by them to do that in the intro on
Dang, that's fire, man. You in your bag. You now I gotta listen back
there.
too and gotta catch it. Now that you say something, dang. Okay. Okay. Now quick pivot here, as this is a basketball and hip hop platform. Of course,
Yes.
we see the shirt, and I know the label told me you're a Laker fan. They had a big offseason, hiring former sharpshooter JJ Redick as head coach. And while they've had their ups and
Yeah.
downs a little bit, they look better this year. How did you become a Laker fan, and what do you think about the team this year?
I feel like it's the typical story for me, Kobe.
Oh, word.
So yeah, that and the team this year, it's interesting. Like we do have our ups and downs. Like we have good games, bad games, but the chemistry I think is a lot better. And we're just trying to figure out our lineups when it comes to like starting and all that stuff. I know they just recently put D'Lo on the bench
Oh yeah.
and put Reddish. Yeah, they're starting Reddish right now. But yeah, I like the way we've been playing though. I like our draft pick uh Connect, as we call him,
Yeah, he
or
nice.
Connect Four.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, he's nice. He's gonna be a good shooter. He's definitely, I think, one of the most like game ready rookies.
For sure. His confidence was there for the jump. And even
Yeah,
like I can't remember if it was the Sixers game or one of the other ones, but he was 0 for 5 and it's like you couldn't even see it on his face. Some rookies kind of show that disappointment, but he was just like
yeah,
in the zone.
yeah. I think part of that's because of Reddick though too, because he just tells people if you're a shooter, shoot. I don't care if you miss, you're still a shooter.
Yeah, that's true. And a lot of rookies kind of
So
struggle with
I
that.
think that's kind of adding to it. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, a lot of
And
rookies
then
do kind of struggle.
I really like Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves is nice too. He just had a great game last night.
Austin Reeves is really nice. He's really nice. I love when he like has a good stretch of games because Man, I feel like folks just don't get it. Like, if you catch him on the wrong day, you probably be like, he all right,
Oh,
but
he's
like,
trash.
you're
Yeah,
right, right.
yeah,
But he's nice. He's nice.
yeah. He's like a perfect role player, I think,
Hmm.
because obviously we have AD and LeBron, and that's where all the attention goes to. But yeah, I like the role players probably more than the star players.
Yeah. Hey, man, they make the team, they turn teams into contenders. So no, I
Hmm.
definitely feel what you're saying. Now, Adrian, did you hoop growing up?
I did not
Oh,
like aside from like pickup games. No, I didn't play organized. I played football,
okay,
and
dope.
yeah,
Dope.
that was the only sport I played organized.
Okay, okay. And then Adrian, I gotta know, on Hip to the Games, I do this thing called 5x5, honored by the stat line in NBA. Um, and I need your five favorite MCs. Well, I guess for you, I'll let you do if you want to do a mix of MCs and producers and just keep it artists in general, or if you just want to do all producers, all MCs, that's totally up to you. But I need your
Man,
five favorite artists all time, and then your five favorite basketball players all time.
dang, I hate lists so much. Oh man, it's hard. It's so when it comes to like music or anything art, it's hard for me to rank because it's art and it is subjective to a point, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um,
But you can do favors though. You can do favors. It don't gotta
yeah.
be like, top five,
Uh,
whatever.
so I guess I would put like I'm just gonna go like kind of modern right now, like top five that I'm listening to.
Okay.
I would probably say like not in any order. I would say like Tyler the Creator,
Mm,
Thundercat, uh Anderson Paak would be up there.
he's crazy.
Yeah. Steve Lacy would be up there.
Mm,
Who else? What am I at?
that's four.
Four. I need one more. Dang. I guess not in like that bag, but this is more of like that raw underground sound. I've always been a fan of Alchemist.
Nice. Yeah, man. He's crazy too.
Actually, let me put Terrace Martin in there.
Mm, okay.
Yeah, he's another guy. Yeah, but Alchemist, he'll get the honorable mention. And
I
then
got you.
for
Six
for
man.
basketball, yeah, he's the sixth man. For basketball, is this all time you said?
Oh yeah, all time favorite. It could be any era.
So it's definitely Kobe
Hmm.
as number one. The other ones, they don't gotta be in order. I'll probably put like AI.
Nice.
Uh, who else? Probably Vince.
Vince, nice. Nice. Severely underrated.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. More modern, I'll probably put Steph Curry.
Gotta have Steph.
Trying to think. I really like defense. I would probably put Rodman in there.
Mm. That's a nasty five, man. I love when I ask that question and people's five,
Was that five or was that four?
yeah, yeah, Kobe,
I said Kobe.
Vince,
Okay, okay.
AI, Steph,
AI.
and Rodman.
Okay, yeah, 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 yeah.
I love when people's
Dang, I
five
thought that was
ends
gonna
up
be
being
harder.
like a yeah. Yeah, you did good. You did good. Most people, I've had some people have to think about it for a little bit, but I love when most people's five actually kind of resembles a lineup. And especially even yours is like more of the small ball that we see today. But that's a
Yeah.
nasty five.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff Dennis did probably wouldn't fly today, but we'll see.
True.
He's like the Draymond of that group, I guess.
True, true. But he got scary when he learned to control it. When he learned to do it at like the perfect times, that's when it got dangerous because you couldn't even give him a tech because the other guys were reacting before he even got to do anything crazy.
Yeah, yeah, that's facts.
All right, and then last question, Adrian. What do you hope listeners take away when they press play on an album or song from Adrian Rose?
I hope they feel refreshed
Mm,
because I pride myself in not being like everybody else, not following the trends, just really kind of just doing whatever I want to do. And I hope they feel refreshed and I hope they feel inspired to be themselves.
that's dope, man. Hey, man, I can say firsthand, you certainly did that, bro. Even with this album, I know you got plenty more in store. But certainly, man, with all caps, I definitely got the feeling of refreshing, like just hearing something different. And even just understanding your story more, man. Like you're a real talented brother, man. Like the fact that
I
a lot of
appreciate
this just seemed to be off the fingertips, man. Like just what some people might say out of thin air, or even dare I say overnight success. Like,
it.
but man, it's really fascinating to hear how much of it is like talent combined with skill, which is always the best formula. When somebody finds out how to blend both, it always just goes up from there. So, man, I really I think it's dope that you said that, and I certainly felt it when listening to the album. I'm excited for other people to hear the album and be able to get the same feelings and even learn new things and everything like that. Um, Man, thank you again for wanting to come on Hip to the Games in the first place and just providing some of that insight on this album, on your story, previewing that debut album, all caps. Here's to your continued success, bro. Like, obviously, I'm gonna be watching, I'm gonna be continuing to following you and everything like that. And here's to an even greater, release. Keep sharing your gifts. I'm excited to see how you just continue to mix it up and do some producing and instrumentation and rapping, just everything. And it's dope to be introduced to a new artist. And like I said, I'm excited to keep following your journey, man. So, before I let you go, can you please remind our listener here how they can support you and just keep up with your work?
So on every social media platform, it's at Adrian Rose Music, and you can find me on the streaming platforms by just Adrian Rose, and you'll see a picture of me.
And now, while at the time of this recording, we there's some time in between, but can you just let them know when the album drops and when that release date is?
The album will be out on December 10th, 2024.
Okay. Okay. So at the time this drops, it have been out already. So make sure you listen to that. Make sure you follow Adrian on all the socials. Of course, stay tapped in to Hip to the Games. You'll see all the posts and everything like that. And I'll make sure to post it as well on my feed. And once again, special thanks to Adrian Rose for joining the show. And be sure to be on the lookout for that new album or that debut album, all caps. And a great reflection of just kind of community and ambition and just kind of songs for the everyday person. If you can't find yourself in these songs, something is wrong with you. I'll say that. And you certainly get a vintage touch with some of the sounds, and I'm sure it's an album that you will enjoy. And with all that said, this is another episode of Hip to the Games in the books, all for the love of the best combo there is. Peace out and God bless. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Hip to the Games, and if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit up the socials at Desmond Powell _ and at Hip to the Games on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok so you don't miss out on the fun. And please follow or subscribe to the show and leave a review on the podcast platform you're on right now, as your support is greatly appreciated.